Hi everyone. So I am doing a little bit of a cooking demo here. I decided to film early so that I could show it to all of you and record it and send it to anyone that maybe couldn't join us today. So beginning of our 14-day plant-based challenge. We may not do 100% plant-based. That's okay. The idea is to get more whole foods, less processed foods, more plants into our diet. And a good way of doing this is to have some desserts, things that satisfy our sweet tooth, ready and available. So that's what we're just going to go through. I'm going to do 3 quick recipes. Play around with them. You can, make these in different ways that can be exciting for you. And I'll discuss that. The first thing we're going to do is the energy lemon balls, high in protein, no processed sugar. I've made, little energy balls like this for years, but I was inspired to make a brighter lemon version from our recent lecture that we did when we had these like little lemon balls with PPMY. So this is a little homage to them. So I have some cashews here. High in minerals, high in protein. These are raw. These are unsalted. They can be a little pricey. That's true, but they're really worth it. I soaked these. You do not necessarily need to soak these for this recipe. They are moist enough that you can use them dry. If they're raw, they must be raw. If they're roasted, it's going to have a much more crumbly texture, and you want to be able to mold these. I like the texture when they've been soaked. I soaked them for a few hours. You could soak them overnight. Next week, I'll show you a cashew cheese that I like. And I use I soak the cashews, and I use raw cashews as well. So I am throwing, I'm going to give you guys the recipe for one single recipe, which is 1 cup of cashews. But I doubled the recipe because I like more sweets in the house, not less. My daughter likes to eat them. We all like to eat them. So, and especially now that we're doing this 14-day, I'd like to have more plant-based, unprocessed things in my fridge. So I'm just doing 2 cups of the soaked cashews. Now look, the idea with these is to make them the right texture to be able to roll them into an energy ball. It depends. We have to play around with this. I just threw cashews in here that had some moisture on them from being soaked. So they may need a little bit more coconut in order to get that texture. But this is an approximate recipe here. I doubled the recipe for this too. This is unsweetened coconut. You can see that I have this here, unsweetened shredded coconut. I'm using 2 cups. Just throwing that right in there. I will use a little bit more if these are too moist. So at the end of this, if I feel them and they feel too moist, I'll just throw another couple tablespoons in there. I'm using some sunflower seeds that are unsalted, and just for extra protein, extra minerals, and I like the little bite in here. I like the taste of them. I'm using some chia seeds because why not? These are omega-3 plant-based chia seeds. These are high in protein. These also are hydrophobic, so they act really interestingly in water. They plump up and they take in water, and I just like what they do in recipes. They add a thickness and a viscousness that's really appealing to me. So the star of this show, besides my dog that you're probably not seeing, but she's tapping in here right now. Lemon just brightens up this recipe, adds vitamin C, adds citrus, just a really clean, simple recipe. My whole house smells like lemons when I start zesting. So I'm using 4 tablespoons. The original recipe is 2 tablespoons. So I'm using 4 tablespoons, and I zested the lemons. I zested 3 lemons. I realize I'm saying a lot. Sorry. I'm going to cut that out. It's not a professional cooking show. It's just us friends. Let's try not to say so many times. But okay. So when I zest, I'm taking the yellow off of the lemon. That yellow has all of those essential oils, that bright lemon flavor, that vitamin C. If we go too far down into the lemon, you're going to get the pith, which is that white part, and it's inherently bitter. So what we want to do is make sure that we're getting that zest, and we're looking, and we're making sure it doesn't go down too far to that white part. Don't want bitter. So here's our lemon zest. It's just lovely. Oh my gosh. Putting this all in here, getting my spatula that I have around here, throwing this in. And then I'm going to put in lemon juice. So I'm going to share the recipe with you all. This is a half of a cup of lemon juice. Original recipe, 1/4 cup. It's about 3 lemons, but these are nice size lemons. So if you have little lemons, it will be a little bit less. And that's it. Ta-da! Looking around like, that's it? That's it. Also, sometimes if I feel like, I mean, I'll try it. If I feel like it needs a little more lemon, then I might give it a little more lemon. Some lemons are just a little more lemony than other lemons. But, oh, I forgot the dates. I knew I forgot something. Ta-da! Take 2. Okay, forgot our dates. Now let's discuss sweetening these energy balls. You can use your choice of sweeteners. You can use real maple syrup, which, yeah, it will raise your blood glucose a little bit, but it's a natural syrup. This is not like log cabin, that it's a corn syrup. This is a real maple syrup that has a lot of essential minerals that are really good for you. If you want to use little maple syrup, that's fine. If you want to use a little bit of monk fruit, that's fine. Just get monk fruit without the xylitol if you can, or erythritol. If you see that in there, you don't really need that. That's another story. We could talk about that later. But monk fruit, if you want to use some liquid monk fruit. What I like to use in these is very simple dates. I'm using medjool dates, and I'm soaking them. So for all of these recipes, anytime you want to blend something and make something really sweet, you're going to use these dates. You soak them in warm water. You can soak them. I have these soaking for about an hour. You take the pit out. It's really easy to take the pit out of these. It just comes right out. So there's the pit. You throw them in your soaking liquid, and they become very soft. I have 3 here. It is going to be up to your level of sweetness with what you put in here. I have seen some recipes call for 5 or 6 or 10 dates. I like 3 in this recipe. Don't think it needs to be so sweet. Dates are very sweet. Remember, dates are enrobed in fiber. Even though they're sweet, they're not going to raise your blood glucose like a processed sugar would. That's why I prefer to use them. It's high in fiber. It's a plant, right? So we're just going to buzz this up. This is our energy balls, and then we're going to mold them. We're going to check for texture and then mold. Slowing down. As soon as it starts to slow down, I might scrape the sides of the bowl right around now. I'll scrape. Oh, that looks so good. Oh my God. Here's where I wish we had smell-o-vision. It smells so good. So this is a really good consistency. Now, another thing, when you want to add sweetness and you're using the whole dates that have been soaked, you can use some of this date liquid in here. If you just wanted it to add, I'm just adding a drop. I don't think it really needs too much, but the date liquid is really sweet as well. Don't throw away the date liquid. Keep it in your fridge. If you're going to do overnight oats or a chia pudding that I'm going to show you soon, you could use this again. It's really sweet, and you can use this in other recipes that you may need a liquid sweetener in. So I keep it. Try to keep everything that you can. Okay, that's the machine telling me done, or it's got enough liquid in it that or it actually doesn't have enough liquid in it, but that's okay because we don't want it to have too much liquid for this. So we are going to test the balls now. Here's our dough, like a consistency. This is a really good consistency. See, when it makes that noise, it's telling me that it's dry, but we don't want this to be too wet. It's a ball that we're going to keep in the fridge. We're going to either, you could pop these in a glass bowl and put them in the freezer and then keep some in the fridge. Keep them in a glass bowl like this. And just, you know, you could toss them also in some shredded coconut afterwards. So we could just take them, toss them in some of this beautiful coconut. It just has this beautiful, it has this really lemony, fresh smell. It's all these wonderful ingredients in it, high in protein, and it's just this beautiful little lemon ball. And it's delicious. And it's, my 11-year-old approves this recipe. So you know it's got to be good because she likes her sweets, believe me. So I just will sit here, not in front of all of you right now, but I will sit here and just mold these into these gorgeous little balls. I will refrigerate them. Sometimes I'll do a blast freeze for about half an hour just to get them really hard. And then I'll just throw them in the fridge. I usually keep them in the fridge. If I make a lot of them, I just keep some in the freezer and defrost them as I want them. But it's a really good thing to have in the fridge to pop in your mouth, you know, for a little snack, you know, when you want something sweet. Now you can make these different ways. You can put in the food processor walnuts, pecans, the dates. You can do dried fruit if you'd like. You can do, like I said, the maple syrup as well if you wanted to add some of that. You could do vanilla extract or almond extract to give it a little bit of a punch. You could add cocoa powder or cacao powder to the mix instead of lemon and make it a chocolate-based nut. So I really like pecan, walnuts, cocoa, vanilla, and some dates and the date liquid. And that's it. And so you have like this little brown ball. I used to make them for the centers on Valentine's Day. And what I would do then is I would melt chocolate chips. I like to use Lily's chocolate chips. These are the stevia sweetened. And we could talk more about the difference in the chocolate chips later. But I like to use those chocolate chips. I melt them usually with a little bit of coconut oil. And I dip the date balls into them. And I would give them in a little box to the seniors, the date balls dipped in the chocolate. And it was like a little truffle. And they loved it. Sometimes I put dried cherries in it. It's delicious. Okay, so that being said, we're going to move on really quickly to 2 other recipes that I think are good to have in your arsenal. I'm going to move this, and I'm going to bring this out. And I will finish rolling these bad boys later. All right, so these are what we make quite often in my house. These are our, what we call breakfast cookies. They're very easy to make, and there's nothing processed in this, you know, so it's a good recipe. Ripe banana. This is the key to it. Now, if you don't want it to have a banana flavor, again, you can add extracts to this. You could add a vanilla extract. I love a little bit of an almond extract, but also this is going to take on a very peanut butter chocolate flavor. I don't find that the banana is that pronounced in it, but the banana acts as a sweetener to this. So it's a whole food sweetener. We all want sweets. We don't want to eat all this processed sugar. Here's a way to really satisfy your taste buds. These are pretty ripe bananas, as you can see. They've been pre-mashed. I'm using rolled oats, whole grain rolled oats. You know, really excellent if you are worried about cholesterol. You know, I'm sure you've heard that before, but the oats take the LDL cholesterol out of your body. They escort the LDL cholesterol out of your body. Really love oats. So here are some beautiful oats. Okay, and we're just tossing them into our softened bananas. Now I'm using peanut butter here. I don't want to use that because it has stuff on it. So I'm going to get another one of these. And peanut butter. I'm using about 1/2 cup of peanut butter. Now, be careful with peanut butters in the store. You know, this is a natural peanut butter. As you can see, I got it. It was just ground at the store. So the only ingredients in here are peanuts. You could use peanuts with salt. You want to be careful because a lot of these peanut butters aren't even peanut butters. They're what we call peanut spreads, like Skippy and Jif and Peter Pan. It's loaded with hydrogenated oils like palm oil, which is really unhealthy for you. That's why now they have to use the word spread instead of butter. It's not actually a butter, it's a spread. So about a half a cup. So I'm eyeballing this because I pretty much know what half a cup looks like. That's about half a cup. And so I'm using some vanilla extract here, you know, because I just like the flavor of it in these. You can make these any way you want. I should have made sure that this was open before I did this. This is one of the things of, if this was an actual cooking show on the Food Network, this would not happen because my producer would have done this for me. Okay, so a little bit of vanilla, and that's about, I would say, 1/4 teaspoon. It's not a lot, but I just like the flavor of it. I also have done it with other extracts. I've done this also with mashing up raspberries in the banana and making this a multi-fruit kind of thing where it's just not bananas only. It's got like a tangy, sweet flavor from the raspberries. So what I do with this is that if I feel that sometimes, especially with the natural peanut butter, there's inherent oils in here that make it a little bit wet, the mixture. You may have to add a little bit of extra oats to this, because I'm looking at this now and saying, oh, I probably need like a 1/4 cup more oats because it's a little too moist from the peanut butter, which is fine. Just make more cookies. So I'm going to, if I see it's like this, I'm going to add a little bit more. It's just a little too loosey-goosey. I'm going to do, that's about a 1/4 cup. Yeah, I eyeball things like that. You can just use your measuring cup too. If this was recipe testing, I wouldn't be doing that. That was just really great what that just did. So that just, you know, took out that moisture. Now you could also add coconut. You could add some coconut to this if you want. We've made this where we just put all different types of things. I was just going to do like a pure thing for you here. Actually, we could add some coconut. Why not? A little bit. Let's do a 1/4 cup of coconut. Why not? Right? Coconut is delish. Okay, but you don't have to. You can just do this like the pure way of oats, peanut butter, bananas, a little bit of vanilla, and some chocolate chips. You could do dried fruit in this. Again, there's a lot of different things. These are your own like ready set cookies to have in the fridge. Chocolate chips. Lily's, stevia sweetened. There's a lot of research into stevia and its health benefits. And it's just if I'm using some of these chocolate chips, I really try not to use so much sugar. I'll use the stevia sweetened. They have other brands too. They have vegan brands, dark chocolate, Pure Life, which is a good brand. There's not a lot of sugar in that. So now I just have these cookies mixture like this. Ta-da! That's it. And now I'm just going to make cookies out of them. Usually I'll get a scoop, but I didn't put a scoop out. Forgot the scoop, but usually I would do a scoop like this. And again, if I feel like this is just about where I want it to be, it's okay. You'll get some yuck on your hands. I mean, it's good yuck. And I just flatten them out. If you feel them and you feel like they need to be drier, you can put some more coconut in, or you can put some more oats in, or whatever you want. I know from experience, like this texture is good because we're going to either flash freeze or refrigerate them. So I just put these in the fridge. They're going to get hard. And then I just put them in a glass container or a glass bowl, and that's it. Done. You'll have cookies. You have something that you can grab, you know, during the day. High protein, no processed ingredients, delicious, and, you know, nutritious, which is what we want, right? And we want to prevent ourselves from, you know, eating too much processed sugar or trying to get away from the flavor of processed sugar that just is everywhere and in everything. So this is a way to do it. We have these cute little cookies. So you work with the texture of it. I'm going to show you a chia pudding really quick, but I'm going to get some water. Out of frame for a minute, sorry, but I've got peanuts all over my hand. So really quick, last thing that I'm going to show you is chia pudding. So I love chia pudding. I think that you can do this in a variety of different ways. You can do overnight oats as well, where you do the chia seeds with oats, with the milk, with some cinnamon or some pumpkin pie spice or some vanilla. You mix it up, and then overnight you have this delicious pudding for breakfast with loads of oats in it and heart healthy ingredients. But as a dessert, I really like to make this. I make this for my daughter. We all like this. It's a delicious pudding, and the texture is like pudding. It's like a chocolate or a vanilla pudding. Now, this is one that I've made before, and you can see it's solid. Okay, so the general recipe that works for this consistency is 2 tablespoons of chia seeds with a half a cup of whatever milk you like. I like to use almond milk. I use an almond milk unsweetened vanilla, and this is what you get. And so I mixed in with this the chia seeds, which are somewhere around here. I don't know what I did with them. Okay, but I mixed the chia seeds similar to the chia seeds I put into our balls earlier. I put 2 tablespoons in, half a cup of the almond milk. I did add some cinnamon and some vanilla, but I've added, I've done different things with this. Now I used a small amount because I was just doing this to show you, but I might do a little bit more depending, or put them in smaller cups. And then I just add some delicious blueberries on top. Make sure that you buy a lot of berries in general, right? Because of the polyphenols that are inherent in berries, blackberries, blueberries, boysenberries, strawberries, raspberries. They're incredibly healthy for you. They're an anti-inflammatory food. They help to oxygenate your cells and clear out dead cells in your body. Incredibly important nutrient for you to take in these, especially the dark berries. And then you just have this beautiful little pudding here. It's so easy to make this and keep them in little glass jars in your fridge. Sometimes I'll take some coconut yogurt, which is delicious. There's a brand called Coco June that's delicious. But there's a few different brands that they make now that's just pure coconut, and you just put a dollop on top. You could throw some chocolate chips on top of here. You can melt some chocolate chips and drizzle it over, whatever you want to do. And it's almost like the base for an acai bowl, where you could put nuts on it, put a little bit of peanut butter drizzle, but it satisfies your sweet tooth. It gives you a little out, for that sweet tooth. You're able to grab something fast during the week that, satisfies you. So good luck, and thank you for listening and being part of this. I'm here for all of your questions, comments, anything else you'd like me to demo or show you. I'm here for you. Good luck on the plant-based journey. I'm so glad we're doing this together. Mwah! See you later.